So we have our 5 minutes. Okay, so let's continue with whatever we were doing. I think we started with domains, roles, and role restrictions. Let's do that. So let's finish that, and then we will go ahead and we will do that scenario, whatever you were asking, like how do you combine your classroom and your online thing together. We'll see that also. So let's finish this first. So we have created a domain and we have created a domain restriction. So domains are various areas that you want to combine to restrict the access to the admin. So domains and domain restrictions are mainly for admins. It is not for your end users. So what all access should the admin have is divided by your domain restrictions and your roles. So we created a domain. So we created a domain called I think N. I think it was N domain. And then we also, so here we selected all the domains. So all the domains means your item, program, curricula, everything has a domain. We selected all those domains. We went on to domain restriction. We created a domain restriction. We included our domain in that. Now let's create a role. Let's create a role for this particular domain alone. That is, we are going to create a role which we are going to assign to an admin who will have and be able to create or do actions only for this particular domain. In fact, they should not be able to see any other domain. They should not be able to access any other domain. So the exception in all these cases is your public domain. Why? Because the public domain is something which is by default available to everybody and which you cannot restrict to anybody. So that is why you'll have to be careful whenever you're trying to create data in public domain. If you don't want the data to be accessible by everybody, then don't create your data in your public domain. So let's create a new role. So let's say N admin, the role type. So here the role type is admin, user, and instructor. There are 3 types of roles. Let's choose your admin role. So domain, you can create it onto our own domain only, which is N domain. So we can create this role in our own domain. So add. So we have added a role in our domain, which is of type admin. And here we have something called workflows and workflow restrictions. So go to your workflows, add one or more workflows from the list. The workflows are nothing but the various axes that you have on the top. For example, commerce is this, content is this, government reporting is a particular category under reporting, performance management is this, reports is this, search is general search option, user management is this, system administration is this. So your workflows are simply your various workforce management groups that are there in the system. Let's say we are going to give access only for learning management alone. That is only this particular node. We're not going to give access for anything else. We will also give access to search workflow group, because basically the person should be able to search. Even under learning, he should be able to search. So I'm giving him access to learning and search roles, or say workforce. When you open that, you would see all your possible actions that you could do under your learning management. Similarly, when you open search, you'll be able to see all your possible actions that you could do using your search workflow group. And go to your workflow restriction next. So your workflow restriction, okay, I think we have to save changes. So let's add up search. Let's add learning management, add, say okay, add it up. So once you add both the workflows here, now you go to workflow restriction. Your workflow restriction is a combination of action and a particular function. So your action is, say, adding a particular block. Your function could be add. Similarly, your function could be delete. The function could be copy. So it is a combination of function plus workflow is your workflow restriction. So you have your function plus your workflow is your workflow restriction. So you are restricting them for certain functions in a workflow. For all functions. So the functions could be add, copy, delete, view, etc. Anything. Or edit. These are all the various functions that are available here. Add is adding a new thing. Copy is copying. Delete is deleting. View is looking at it. And edit is to edit it. So here what you need to do is, here if you see there is something called domain restriction ID. So out of all these functionalities, whichever you want to restrict to a particular domain, you have to write the particular domain ID here. So if you don't restrict, it will be available to all the domains. That is, currently the role has access to learning management and search management. Under learning management, there are a lot of functionalities and the workflows, which is like say adding a cancellation reason, adding a class status, etc. In general, the person will be able to do for all the domains. But if you want to restrict it to a particular domain, then you maintain the domain restriction here. So let's take a simple thing. Let's take a simple thing to check, like we will not be able to copy it. There's so many tabs over here. So you may not be able to sit and do it for each and everything. We will take the simple scenario. We will see how to add item, edit item, copy item, delete item, search item. So for all these 5 things, we will put the domain restriction to our domain and see. So let's find add item. So here is your add item. So let's choose our domain restriction, which is again domain. We'll just select it. So I'll just copy this. That is add item. So next is edit item. So let's do it. Edit item. So here is your edit item. Status. So whether you'll be able to see or edit only active items or inactive items or both. That is what the state restriction is. State restriction tells you what state of items do you have access to edit, whether it is active items or inactive items or both the items. So add, edit. Next, let's go to copy item. We'll do both. And then delete item. What is next? Search item. So for the search item, probably I think we will also give access to add item type, so that we can, okay, that is not required only. Okay, so after all this, let's go to the search workforce management group. So in the search workforce management group, we again have to find search item. So this is your search item. So here also we are giving the access restriction to only your end domain.
So whichever doesn't have this kind of navigation box, we cannot restrict them, right?
Correct. We cannot restrict them. Those will be the things that you create from this references here. Many of them which you create from here, if you see when you create, they will not have a domain map to it. So whichever which does not have a domain map to it, will not be possible to be restricted through domains.
Oh, okay. So if the completion status has a domain, then we can,
Yes.
for example, we can remove it.
Yes.
And this way we are restricting the user to search some items, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So here the user will be only able to search items in end domain and items in the public domain. Nothing more than that.
Oh, okay. So we are allowing that person to search, but only in end domain, not in all the domains. Okay.
Correct. For other domains, he will not be able to search.
Okay.
So that is search item. I think that alone we will do, because we will just see apply changes. We will see a restricted set alone to have a nice understanding. So we have put all our domain restrictions. We have applied the changes. Now let's go apply this to a user and see. So before that, let's create an item in the particular domain just for testing. So scheduled only. Let's say I created, let me choose something. So let me choose this end domain. I will put this under the domain end domain. Okay, I'm not able to use it because I don't have access to this domain. I don't have access to this, but it should come now. Okay, never mind. We will directly go to the user and we will see. Okay, so now we have just defined the domain restriction and the role. Next, if you remember, we created a user. I think we created a user called John Go. We created this particular user in the BizX. We'll do one thing, we'll make him as an admin, we will give him this role, and then we will log in as this employee and see how he's able to access as an admin. So for that, we'll have to go to system admin, go to admin management. 1 minute. When we created the domain restriction, okay, so when we created the domain restriction, did we create it in public domain? Yes, so we will create it under end domain only. So everything we are doing it under end domain only. So this domain does not have a domain. Domain is simply a domain. And see here, public is involved by default. When we created a domain restriction also, I'm creating it under end domain. Similarly, when I created a role also, I'm creating it under end domain only. I'm not giving the access for the others to edit this particular role. So it will be like, I mean, they will be able to edit, but I'm just creating it under end domain. So here, let me select all, add to filter, submit it, search, yes. So this domain restriction also, I have created it under end domain only. Okay. So let's create an admin. So to create an admin management, add new. So let's give an admin ID. Say I'm giving the same ID as that of an employee. Domain. I'm going to create him also under this particular domain. Related user. Let's add a related user as Chongo. So let's select him. We have to choose a new password. This password is not of any concern here because we have your BizX and your LMS integrated. So this password is suitable only when it is a standalone system. When BizX is not integrated to LMS, only then this works out. Otherwise, you don't have to consider the password that you give here. So we have created an admin. Let's go to assign roles. Here we'll assign our role, which is the end domains. Let's search for our role. It's not there. Okay. Why it is not there is because search does not include our domain. So in the domain, add our domain, because I have created the role also in end domain. So we need to add our domain from here. So add to filter, submit. Now if you search, you'll be able to see our domain from here. MNOP.
An admin?
Yeah. So add it up. So we have added this particular domain to our role. Please apply changes. So that is all is what has to be done for assigning a role to an admin. So we created an admin, we assigned the role also to an admin. So let's log in as this person, see how the system is going to look for him. So I go to home. So let's proxy now to John Go. So let's go to admin center. So let's go to learning administration. So you can see here that the access is very much restricted. So let's go to learning. So he's able to see everything under learning. Content, very few. These would come from the options that we have selected under search. Similarly, under user also only search option is enabled. Similarly, under commerce also only search option, because we had included search. There are some options that are coming up from the search. This document, I think it is common to the learning as well, because of which you're able to see the add new button. So here, let's try to add new. So let's say scheduled only. Let's say okay. So let's choose any item type. So let's try to open. Okay. So see here, now the person is able to see all the domains from here, but this should not be the case. Like even here, he should be able to search only for end domain and only for public. So I'll tell you what should be done. Let's go back. In the search domain, we had to put a restriction that we didn't do. That is, now if you see, when you're searching, the person is able to see all the domains, so he can as well create the item. Or he cannot create an item because add new item we have given only to end domain. So what should be done is that search domain access should be restricted only to end domain, so that even when he searches, he does not find any other domains. So let me go to the role. Let's go to security, role management. So let's choose our domain. Select all, add to filter, submit filter, role ID. Let's search with N. So in the N admin part, in the workflow restriction part, on the search part, I want to filter for search domain. So in the search domain, you put the restriction to end domain alone. So search domain restriction is only for end domain. That also has to be added. Otherwise, what will happen is now, like what we did when we did I apply changes? Just close this. Apply changes. Otherwise, what will happen is when the person is trying to like add a new item under the domain, he would be able to see all the other domains which is not right, because he in general should be able to see and do things only related to end domain, nothing more than that. So let's go to admin center, learning administration. Learning. So add new, scheduled only. Okay. So now let's look at the domain. See, only two domains. This is by default. Now he is able to select only end domain. He will not be able to choose any other domain. And let's try creating anything like say webinar. We try creating end domain item. End domain. So let's choose something. That's it. Save and exit. So we are able to create only under end domain. That is the first thing. Next, let's go to search. So search, he is able to search everything. Search is able to search everything because I don't think search item we gave a restriction. We gave a restriction only for search domain, and I think what else under search did we give a restriction? I think only to search domain we gave a restriction. Rest all things he'll be able to search, but when he is adding a new thing or when he is editing a new thing, he'll be able to only for end domain things. Okay.
So when we create the domain, we will, if for example for the end domain, if you don't give, I'm a little bit confused about domains.
It will appear like that.
Sorry?
It will be like that. Once you
Yeah.
practice once, you'll get the clarity. See, your domain is simply your areas, different areas of data that you want to create. A typical example is consider you want areas like say Chennai, Hyderabad and Bangalore. All these three data, that is people and the data and the training in all these three areas, you want to give them only to one particular admin. That admin should not be able to access any other domain. So what you do is you create a domain restriction. So this domain restriction will have a combination of all these three. So it will be like say South India could be a domain restriction which has Chennai plus Hyderabad plus Bangalore. So all these three will be mapped to that. So what happens next is you create a role. In the role, you choose what all workforce managements do you want to give access. So here we have workflow, we have workflow restrictions. So your workflow is your actual workforce management group, the one that appears on the top. Apart from that, there could be some specific things like comment reporting, search, etc. Your workflow restriction is an action plus a workflow. So your workflow could be like say adding an item. So from here, what is that we are doing? We are adding a new item. But try going to users. Do we have option to add new users? No, because we didn't give any option under users at all. So what we did was specifically we just selected two things for our testing purpose. One is we selected the workflow called learning management, and second we selected your search management. So these two, the person has access to all domains. He will have access to all domains by default. Whichever you want to restrict under the workflow restrictions, which is your action plus workflow, you have to enter the specific domain restriction ID. In general, what you would do is, in general, you would be entering that end domain value for each and every entry on that particular line. So why do we have to enter it for each and every line is that we will be restricting the entire thing to end domain. He cannot search other domains. Now we just tried for adding a new item. We just wanted to restrict that alone and see. But in general, it could be an item type, it could be anything, it could be editing segment, whatever it is, everything should be restricted to end domain. So what we have to do is in general, under the role, whatever workforce group we have created, each and every setting under that should be mapped to our domain. So role management. So here you have to again choose our role at the filter. Oh god, I didn't do. Select all, add a filter, submit filter, role ID is in. So what you would have to do is under the workflow restrictions, under expand all, under each and everything you have to put this restriction ID. So that what will happen is everything, like say adding a catalog item or adding a class or adding a class status, whatever it is, everything you'll be able to only for the domains under this restriction ID. You'll not be able to do it for other domains.
Okay, then why do we have domain?
Domain we have because we are going to create data on that domain. You are creating each and every data in a domain.
Oh, okay.
You're creating each and every data in a domain. So see, each and every data in a domain means users can also be created on a domains. When you go to users now, we have put all of them under your domain called public. So here also you can choose your particular domain to add a data. So that what will happen, nobody else will be able to even access your employee. Now see end domain, I add to filter, submit filter. So what I can do, when I search currently there won't be any data under end domain, but you can add new employee under end domain, and when you give the access to the users for end domain, you will be able to see only your users. I unnecessarily don't want employees belonging to Delhi or Gurgaon. I want to see only employees belonging to Chennai, Hyderabad and Bangalore. How will I restrict that?
So if I create a domain, for example, Kansas, and if I don't create any domain restriction, I'll go to the role management and I will restrict the workflow, like few things to Kansas only. Then they can see only the trainings here.
No. You
We
have,
still need the domain
yes,
restriction.
yes. Whatever
But
you,
in the workflow, if I don't give any domain restrictions there, if in the workflow,
they'll
will
be
it
able to
be
everything. They'll be able
what?
to see. They'll be able to see all domains.
Okay, still, but domain doesn't act because we are not connecting, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes.
Okay.
All these.
But we created the user under that domain, right? Still, he will be able to access all the domains.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because he has access to learning. He has access to search. There are no restrictions imposed. So what we have defined under workflow is this. But you
So
want,
why do we give a user domain here if he can access everything?
because you want to create a group of domains to which the restriction has to be done. Normally, let's say I can access say around 10 domains. So if I don't have a restriction, how will I create a role saying I can access those 10 domains? I have to create 10 roles. I have to assign each and every domain to 10 roles. You get my point? Let's say there are 10 domains. Let's say these are the 3 domains. I don't have a domain restriction now. I want to access data under Chennai people alone, and I want to access data under Hyderabad, and I want to access data under Bangalore.
Oh, okay. So it's for the super admin. For super admin, it will be okay. Then
Yeah.
that makes sense. So I was confused why if we are not going to create any domain restriction or something, why do we need to assign a domain to the user? This one makes sense for me.
Yep. So even if it is one domain, that is why you are attaching it to a domain restriction, because the idea is your overall functionality. That there could be say 20 domains which a particular person can access. I cannot create 20 rows. Instead, I just map those 20 domains to a particular domain restriction. That domain restriction ID I restrict for all the workforce management groups.
Okay, got it.
It's only for admin. This is no way related to end user. It's only for admin as to what all stuff he should be able to access from here. Because unnecessarily, if I see users of some other domains, I would get confused. Why is this person appearing under my category? I don't want to see this person at all.
And we can also restrict what super admin can see. Like for example, if I have a person from India and I don't want him to see the users in US, I can go in and create a domain restriction and say he can only see the users from this domain.
Yes,
Is it possible? Okay.
yes, what you have to do is you have to add user management group, and under
Mm-hmm.
search user, you have to do that restriction.
Got it. Yeah. Now it's clear.
Okay. So just like that, let's say.
I think I have to practice it a little bit, or else I'll forget.
Yes, yes. This would look clear now, but once the moment you start practicing, you might get confused. So let's say I just add a particular workflow called user from here. So you have to add user workforce now, and then add a restriction under user. You can restrict the domain restriction to your particular thing, like say add event rule or add employee or add user. But for searching
So,
users, again you have to go to user here. I mean, again you have to add your search. Even
okay.
for user, search is throughout the system. Wherever you want to search, you will have to go for the search, and here you will have an option to search user. So
Then they have to, like, if it
okay.
is global, they have to create different domains and rules, right?
Yes, yes. So that is what is your starting point of your LMS. The very first thing that we would start with LMS is getting the different domains that has to be created, because once we create things onto the public domain, it is not going to be like restrictable at all. So the
So
best.
public domain is that they can only, I mean, the users who have license can access to everything on the system, right?
Mm,
Like license people, whoever is in the LMS system can access to all the items in
yes,
the system,
yes, yes.
not the external users or someone outside.
No, 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 no. Only the admins, they will be able to access everything created under public domain.
No,
But
what about the users?
the
If
users will not have access to this page at all. Users only have access to the learning tab, which will have specific things allotted to them.
yeah, if there is a user
Mm.
and his domain is public,
Mm.
then what will happen? Like, what's the use of creating him
Ah,
under the public domain?
okay. If you create him under public domain, uh, he would appear for all the admins. Like say I belong to Chennai. I belong to
Okay.
Chennai, who should be accessible only by say South India admin. But what happens, by mistake you have created my data under public. So what will happen, this admin will be able to access my record. Some other North Indian admin will also be able to access my record. That is the only problem.
Oh, and it's still the still uh, there is no domain restriction on catalogs, right? Can we?
There is no domain restrictions on catalogs.
Is there any domain
Catalog.
restriction?
I think that should be there on catalogs as
So
well.
if I go and say if I'll restrict the catalog, I won't restrict the catalog at all.
Mm.
Then and the user is in the public domain, he will access to everything, right? From different countries, or
User. No, come again. User is in public domain. So user does not have an impact here at all. Be he being in public domain or he being in domain doesn't matter at all. It is only the admin thing that we are discussing here. The user will be able to access things that is allotted to him or that comes to him through his assignment profile. The assignment profile, when you are creating a rule, you can include public domains also if you have people under public domain. Otherwise, the first step in your rule when you're creating an assignment profile is to include a domain. So you don't have any data in public domain, you can directly include your end domain alone and create rule on that particular domain.
okay,
Your
yeah, I
catalog
think I
should
have
be
to
there.
play with it.
Yeah. Your catalog will be there, I think, under learning
I
management.
just want to know, like, I have a user. Oh, okay. Maybe if I can create a user role and create a restriction here, then the user will see only the trainings from that domain.
See, this role is not related to your user at all. Your user role is different. Let me show you your user role.
Yeah, I'm asking for the user role.
Okay. For the user role, let me show you here. So let's search. So we have the user role is, I think, default user. This is your user role. So for the user role, in general, they will have few things that are selected. There are 4 standard roles. I think one is all user, second is one is default user, default instructor, and then all connector, all performance, and admin role. No, all. Let me show. I think these are the 5 standard roles. Not this. Is on integration. No, this is what I just gone through. This is also integration. There are 5 standard roles. Okay, I think these are the 5 standard roles. One is all, second is I think one minute. I have it here as well. Yeah, these are the 4 standard roles: all connector, all performance, learning admin, and all. The default user role is also there, and default instructor role is also there. These are by default given to users and instructors when they're created in the system. So here, if you see your default user role, those are the admin roles. These are the 4 standard admin roles that I'm speaking about. So here, if you see the workflow, they have access to career, catalog. So they have access to catalog from here. Again, learning, my employees, organization, personal reports, ad hoc reports. So in the workflow restriction, if at all, if you want to restrict them to a particular domain restriction ID, you can put over here. But again, I don't think they will be able to. Okay, probably you can enter your domain restriction here if at all, if you want to, like if you're creating the report in a particular domain and they want to only access that particular domain, I mean reports, something like that.
Okay. For catalog restriction, we have to run the assignment profile, right?
Yes,
Okay,
catalog is
got
simply
it.
the payment profile. So that is about your roles. So
Usually, the client uses the default user and default instructor role.
yes, they use them.
Okay.
They will have all the access under learning tab, and instructors will have the default access that is for your instructors.
Mm-hmm.
It's only the admin roles that we have to create. The default admin roles are these 4.
Okay.
That add in that all connector. Those are
Can
the,
we copy? Can we copy an admin role? Oh, got it.
yeah, you can copy.
Okay. Once we copy, we can restrict according to whichever domain you want.
Yes.
Is there any import? Like can we do an import directly?
For the role, I don't think.
I think it's an export data, right?
Sorry.
For exporting the admin roles, is it the export data?
Yeah, that is right. You have import and export data, but I'm not sure if you can import your roles.
Can you
Yeah,
go to export data?
yeah, you have admin roles that you can import and export.
Okay.
So probably you can create it in your test system and then you can like import it here. So you can export it from here. So let's say in domain. So choose all domains because we have created it under a particular domain. So next, so that is your role. So you have access for all these workflows IDs, for all these function IDs, the workflow, the entity, the function, the domain restrictions. Okay. I think it
Yep.
becomes easier in the Excel to maintain and import it in one shot. Like I want to put the restriction to all these, I can just copy paste for the entire column and import it back. That thing that becomes more easier than maintaining
Yeah.
than maintaining it on screen. It's very difficult to maintain it on screen.
Yeah, I mean, some of the companies will have in different countries, which makes this one makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So now going to your doubt, whichever you had asked, let's look at that part. That is how you would be able to create a blended item with a classroom and an online and impose a particular um, uh, thing like you want to create both an online and a classroom training in a blended training. So let's see how to do that. So I go to item. Yeah.
Is it like we have to put a restriction under the system admin global variables that they cannot access prior to the date? Is that
No.
okay?
What is?
Okay, go ahead.
No. You don't know.
No, my question was
Hmm?
when we create an item, when we create a blended item,
Hmm?
if we have a schedule offering
Hmm?
and a classroom, if we want to restrict accessing the content before the schedule offering.
No. Not like that. It's done here only.
Okay.
I'll show you. So let's go to in Blender. So the first setup that you have to do to restrict the user from accessing an online content is you go to view all from here, go down, you have an option called users can access online content without being registering in a scheduled offering. Put this to no. So the first restriction that you have to do is you have to restrict the users from accessing the content without being registered. So when it is yes, they can access directly. When it is no, they will not be able to access directly. They need to register for a scheduled offering. Save this off.
But once they register, can they access to the online content?
No, I will come to that.
Okay.
So for now, we have just restricted. The first thing is that we are putting users can users can access online content without registering. So this, if it is set to S, they can access anytime. Now we have set this to no. So even if this is set to no, they could still, like after registering, they can access. But to further restrict that, go to online content, go to settings, go to modify settings. Here you have an option, content available only during specified segments of a scheduled offering. So choose this, that is your second setup that you have to do. You go to content available only during specified segments of a scheduled offering. So put this, say that it is available only during specified segments. Say okay, save this off. Next, the third thing that you have to do is that go to your segments, create a segment. So let's say on day one, you have a classroom training first of all, which is for 8 hours. And you add another segment, say day two, which is your online content, your online access content, which the person has to do for 8 hours on the second day. So select the online access over here. Select your online access over here. So for the day one, it is classroom training. So the first time the person has to attend the classroom training on day one. Post completion of this only, this does not have online access. See, online access option should not be enabled for this. So post access of that only, the person can come to day two where the online access of the content can become available for them. Then simply use schedule an offering for him. So let's say it is going to start on 18th at 9 o'clock. So what happens on 18th, the person should go for the classroom training. So which is in building. So let's choose a location. Let's choose an instructor. Let's choose an laptop or whatever our resume will choose. Save. So this will create a scheduled offering for the day 1, which would be a classroom training, and only post accessing or finishing that on day 2, the person will have access to online content. A typical example could be like you have your classroom training on the first day, and then on the second day you have an exam which is online. So you go to the classroom, you take up everything, and then second day you have an online exam. So it could be a combination of your classroom plus online content. So your Friday is your classroom training, your Saturday is your online access content, where only on Saturday you will be able to access your online content. Till then you will not be able to access it. So this is already attached to our catalog. Let's go back to the item now. So you have 2 days. First one is classroom training, second is an online training. And in your online content also, in your settings, you need to choose this particular setting, content available only during specified segments. So this is like three kinds of there are three types of the restrictions. So this is least restrictive. This is least restrictive, where you just say that um, 1 minute, yes. No, least restrictive is a case where you can have users accessing the online content without registering. That is yes. So if this is chosen as yes, then this is called as least restrictive, because you're not, like, almost you're not restricting at all. This is your least restrictive category. You're almost not restricting. And then this is your somewhat restrictive category. So somewhat restrictive because we are saying that without registering he cannot access, but once he registers, yes, he is going to have access to the content. But most restrictive is this, wherein we say that it is available only at certain segments, and we specify the segment where it is accessible from the segment category. That is your most restrictive category. Okay. So now let's go. We have assigned this to a catalog already. So let's go to VW1. We'll try to access this content now. Again, did I say any approval registry? Okay, let's become self. You're able to understand?
Yeah. Mm.
Okay. So go to your learning. So browse all courses. So go to end blending. So see offerings. So last time it was like start the course. So first of all, you're seeing the offerings now. Only after you register here, you would have access to the online content. So you're confirming. So first of all, you have registered. So after you have registered, when you go, you can like say enroll or launch during segment only option is available. So first of all, you have to finish your classroom training, and then on day 2 only you can access your particular online content. Till then, you will not be able to access your content at all. Okay.
Okay.
So that's about your Blender training.
So if we don't create any segment, If we have just like a online content, which is not a segment, just an online content attached to it. Oh, so if we say that registration, we do not access without registration, then they can go
register and then access.
Then access the online content. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Maybe you can attach an approval to that, but this is not possible for pure online contents.
What about the prerequisites? Like if I have
Yeah.
if I have a training, like a schedule offering, and they have to go through this schedule offering, then they have to go through another training or another online item. How do we do that?
Here, under your item, you have your prerequisites category. So here, you need to create a new group. Let's say prerequisite group. So here, you add a particular item. So which could be, let's say, in classroom. So let's search whatever is our, let me just search for the items. So we will have our classroom trainings here. Wherever is our classroom training.
Easy something.
Let me just choose anything otherwise. Okay, never mind. What I will do is I will add probably in the item title. I'll just search for N. Yes. What about our classroom? It's not appearing. Okay, never mind. Just choose. Just search any of these. Let's say this is
Is
the
it
code.
because of the domain?
No, we have not created it under domain.
Okay.
This is your item title, right? Maybe a keyword.
Is it SFEC?
That's right. Yeah, I think that is the item title. Yes. Yeah. Here, no. Yes, sir. 1 minute. We'll go to the item. SF. No. N. Classroom is your item type. Your title is SAP-SFEC-CR training. Okay, I copied it. That is your title. Okay, search. So go to your item. Go to your prerequisite. So create new group. Group 1. Add an item. Your item title is that. Search. Choose it. So this is your prerequisite. So you have to complete this before you come and register for this particular course. Otherwise, it will say that prerequisite is not met.
Okay. And another scenario, like if we have, let me think how I can explain that. If we have two schedule offerings, both are schedule offerings, then if they have to finish the prerequisite, and that one is a schedule offering, and the instructor will not mark completion, right, until that is done. And if the session is like the next day or something, how do we restrict that one? Like how they will be able to enroll for two classes?
What is the two? Okay, you mean to say that there are next to next classes?
Yeah, there are two items. There are two items created, and one is prerequisite to another one.
Okay.
And the first schedule offering is occurring maybe tomorrow, and the next one is day after tomorrow. If they attend the first one, there are chances that instructor may not mark the completion, right? So we have restricted saying that this is a prerequisite for the second training.
Okay.
And
Directly the admin have to assign it.
Okay.
Because now see this person, VW2, say for example, we have not done, it's not here. Okay. Let's say VW1. So I don't think VW1 has completed that training. So apply changes, go to next. As an admin, still I can go ahead and I can add him to a particular item, even though he has not finished it. So that will be the only possibility. Because it is happening next to next, and you're saying the trainer will not be able to enter your attendance immediately. So in that case, your admin has to go and enter the register them for the user.
Even for okay, got it. So admin have to go and register for the second one.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
So here you have subject areas. The subject areas are used for searching. Substitutes are like, instead of this, what else is your substitute that you can add directly from here.
Got that.
Yeah, I think those are the options that are present here. So I think we will stop with this for the day. Tomorrow we can continue with your system admin. Like we will start from here. We will see each and every option continuously from here. All options are the application admin, system admin.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.